Hello there guys, this is a Brush Friends with our Rome 2 tournament match. This is going to be Agony 1.1 Achilles versus Wolf's Blade Master. This is the Total War YouTuber tournament hosted by Blade Master himself. And as we can see here, we have Boy being played by AttilaTheGreat on the midi up against Achilles' Rome. So this is an interesting matchup. Both players are quite good. As you can see here, gonna go over the builds quickly before the engagement starts. Gonna go over Achilles' build. He's got a Legatus. He is a command general. He's got one Balearic Slinger, an interesting choice. Probably he wants to use it to pepper this Oathsworn general, which, by the way, this is a peculiar choice to put him over here, like on his right flank, instead of putting him in the center or like behind his main line. I think it's an interesting choice. Not quite sure if it's better than like putting him here though. I think it might have been better to put him behind and use him as support, but we'll see if it works for Attila to overload the Roman left flank. But yeah, for Achilles we also have two Saucy Equites on the left flank and two Saucy Equites on the right flank. These guys are pretty cost effective. They're heavy melee caps, so they will be able to punch through quicker and easier and better than regular Equites, as those are just medium cav. Now for the main line of Achilles we have let's see, interesting way to position his troops. He has a Hastati with an Evocati on his right flank in the back lines, and pretty much the same here on his left flank. Then he also has two Hastati up front on his left flank, and probably the same thing on his right. Actually, no, that is incorrect. He has two Legionary cohorts over here, a Hastati placed in between Legionary cohorts, so I guess he has 6 Legionary cohorts. Yeah, he has 6 Legionary cohorts and like a Hastati in the center. So, again, an interesting choice. Normally you would see people placing, let's say, Hastati as the main line force, and then following up with like their stronger infantry units in the second rank, or reversed, depends on the situation, I suppose. But this means that his center will be quite weak because he has like a Hastati unit, but let's see if it works for him. Now Attila, he has on his right flank 2 heavy horse and on his left flank 3 heavy horse. Pretty standard boy cav setup. Then he does have 1 heavy freeman on each flank. He has, again, his Oathsworn general, that is a strategist. A very good choice indeed. And he has, interesting choice, 2 axe warriors on his right flank. Does he have more axes though? That is the question, because I don't think he has any more axes. No, I can't find them. No, so I guess he does have 2 axe warriors, and he's supporting one of them with a Celtic warrior, and then he has another Celtic warrior here supporting. So I guess he does have like 2 Celtic warriors. Only. You think that as a boy you'd bring more Celtic warriors because they do very well against Hastati, and normally Rome does bring Hastati, so it might be a pretty good choice to bring more Celtic warriors than Axe warriors, but we will see how well these Axe warriors will do. But yeah, for the main line, I'm pretty sure that we have 6 sword followers for Attila, and that we do. But let's get this show on the road and hit play. You can see Attila already moving up on his right flank. This is good for him because he's got the 2 heavy horse and the Levy Freeman support. He can easily take care of those Saucy Equites if he waits for his main line to catch up. Then he's got, again, cav superiority overall, and he does have a nice, strong melee line against Rome. If he uses it properly, he should be able to defeat Rome. But yeah, Achilles, he's gonna reposition Evocati here. He will be able to get rid of this force if he engages it and Attila doesn't pull back here, as he also has a Hastati supporting. But here is the problem for Achilles. Yeah, he's doing damage. Nice job here with the Balearic Slinger, targeting the Oathsworn general, but I mean, how is he going to be able to actually pull back, keep kiting, and do damage to this Oathsworn? I think bringing either 2 or 3 Balearic Slingers would have been better. I'm not sure which. Like, 1 I think is definitely not enough, but I'm not sure what's better, like 2 or 3. I haven't really tested it. enough. But here comes the engagement, mainline engagement. You can see that the Hastati and the Evocadis are like engaging in the main line. Full frontal engagement by both players, but the thing is, here comes some javelins to the heavy horse. Very good job here by Achilles, but the thing is, heavy horse still gets into the back of Hastati. He's gonna be able to route them here. The saucy Equitas of Achilles is gonna get defeated here by Levi Freeman and heavy horse for sure. Celtic Warrior is gonna get a free charge on these Evocadis. Again, more heavy horse coming around. Legat is trying to engage here against the Oathsworn to do a little bit more damage, but this allows the heavy horse to move in onto the Balearic Slingers. Then we have here heavy horse doing some nice charges into the Evocati, but losing some men as well. Just gonna do the HP damage, and here comes another heavy horse charge with Frenzy into the rear of those swords. That's gonna do a lot of damage. Again, this unit of Hastati already routed. The Balearic Slinger is gonna be off the field. This heavy horse has been doing so much work for Attila already, and the saucy Equitas have kind of been wasted and not really done what they need to do here. But there's so much bobbing on right now, but I think this favors Bowie, and look at the mainline engagement. The sword followers will kill legionary cohorts, no problem. Look at the Oathsworn already punching through, because I think it was up against the Hastati? I don't remember, but here comes sandwiching move by Achilles. He's gonna try and sandwich the Oathsworn, but that's not really gonna be enough though. This Hastati is gonna lose to the Axe Warrior, but surprisingly getting some kills against it, despite being back charged. Here though, now Achilles should do quite well in this engagement, but I'm not really sure if that's going to be enough for him, because his center has collapsed due to the nice hammer anvils from the heavy horse, and even back charges from the Levi Freeman to deliver that attack in the rear morale penalty to the Roman units. And the Legatus will fall, which will be still quite bad for Rome, despite the fact that they have mostly disciplined units. Now these heavy horse here, this heavy horse here is just going to do so much damage with back charges into this Hastati, but he decides not to do that. He's gonna go for the saucy Equitas instead. Look at the Oathsworn, barely lost anything, got about 120 kills. Hastati came back here for Achilles, but at this point, basically, the game is already over. Gonna zoom in here as we get some nice action. I mean, you can clearly see here that Boy is definitely, with the charges, they can definitely do very well against Rome. But if you can rob Boy of their charge, which is difficult because they have heavy horse, which are really good melee cav units, like mid-tier melee cav units. So it's really hard to do that against Boy with Rome. I feel like it would work better against Tylis, for instance, or Galicia, since they don't really have that many cav options. Whereas Boy can bring like 4 to 6 heavy horse and be alright against Rome. I feel like Boy do have a really nice edge against Rome, but correct me if I'm wrong. But again, Rome can do some things with but they have to make sure that they kill the Barbarian General, the Oathsworn. That is gonna be important. They have to backcharge sword followers, but I mean, sword followers aren't like tribals. They have more morale than tribals, so they will not be able to rout as much. But yeah, I guess like you have to start by robbing the barbarians of their charge with like frontal cav charges or something, and then pull through, as it's demonstrated, for instance, by Achilles against who was it? I'm already forgetting. Oh no, it was. Well, you'll see what I mean. Anyway, like it's in another video. But yeah, we have this Evocati being surrounded here. Just so many sword followers doing so much work here, and the heavy horse. So much damage done to the back lines of Achilles. And Achilles right now, he does have, okay, he has an Evocati, pretty good situation, lots of kills. Hastati, but he has so few units, and there's still an Oathsworn on the field for Attila. So what is he really going to end up accomplishing with those units? Since the game is pretty much over, but I'm gonna give you some close-up action. Yeah, Achilles, I guess he wants to rest up his troops, but here comes Attila with his mass amount of units. And Achilles is just gonna charge into his death, the last few Roman troops. I mean, there is no way he's gonna win this engagement. here come the Hastani throwing some Pila, but so do those sword followers. The sword followers, despite being lower in number, they're supported by Celtic warriors and very low against Hastani. So again, just look at these Evocadis. Sure, they'll be able to do some damage, but once the Oathsworn come in, that's gonna be it for the Evocadi cohort. So you can see the Evocadi now being flanked again, and victory for the boy. I would say quite decisive as well. Lots of kills here on the heavy horse, and some of them didn't really get too many kills, but I mean that's the way they. I mean they still did a lot in terms of HP damage. The Levy Freeman as well. You can see the sword followers absolutely feasting it against legionary cohorts, and Hastadi, like no chance at all for Hastadi and legionary cohorts. And the back charges for the heavy horse were there. Balearic Slingers didn't really. Yeah, sure they did get some HP damage on the Oathsworn general, but not really enough. And look at it, 133 kills, barely any men died, because I think it was matched up against the Hastadi or a legionary cohort, I don't know, but they killed that unit very quickly and started flanking around. And there were some Levy Freeman back charges into the Roman lines that also collapsed it, not to mention the heavy horse rear charges, and one heavy horse unit heroically routing Hastadi on like Achilles' left flank, and then moving into the Balearic Slinger, killing it, doing damage to the Legatus, and doing more rear charges. So that was well done by Attila. Oh, by the way, this is a best of 3, so Attila is up 1-0. Just needs to win one more game, and he'll be advancing into the semifinals, but we'll see if he can do that in game number 2. This is game 2. We have Rome this time for Attila, and Tylis for Achilles. And let's take a look at the builds once we load up. Of course, this time we have Armavir, a different map, and I'm gonna go over Attila's build first. So he does have General and Bodyguard over Legatus. Costs a little bit more, but does have more armor at the cost of lower health. Then we see he has 3 Equites on his left flank, nice cheap medium melee cav. And he has a legionary cav actually, and saucy Equites on his right flank. Then he has a huge main line of swords. Let me start going over it. So Hastati protecting, like Hastati being on the back of his lines, like one on each flank. You can see here. And then Hastati, wow, what is this? 1, 2, 3, 4 Hastati on his right flank. Quite strange choice, and that might be very bad for him, but let's see the rest of his armies. So he has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 veteran legionaries. Wow, that's a pretty strong line. Then he does have 2 Principes over here, but here's the fact. So these Principes and these Hastati will absolutely get mopped up. Like, this right flank is so weak for Attila the Great that you'll just see it collapsing very, very, very quickly if things go according to plan for Achilles. Like, he's just gonna have to kite this flank and deny it from engaging Achilles. But let's see. I mean, you can definitely tell what Attila is planning. He wants to attack on his left flank and again deny his right flank from engaging. Like, that's definitely his point, and you can see that even with more cavalry on his left as well. Basically, this is a super strong flank and this is a super weak flank. That's the kind of build Attila is going for over here, which is fairly interesting, but I'm not sure if it'll work well for him. Now for Achilles, well, let's see what we've got. We've got an Oathsworn general that is strategist. Oh, I forgot, general bodyguard is Caesar. Again, I would rather pick a commander for Raise Banner and Rally, as you can't really recharge Roman units anymore, as they have like Draco removed and they don't really have Use the Whip anymore. So it's not like how it was before. But yeah, let's take a look at the build of Tylis. So he does have 2 Mercenary Thracian Peltasts. Really good missile units that can do a lot of damage to like the cavalry of Rome, or even like melee units. But not as useful against Rome. Probably he brought them expecting elephants from Rome. So very good choice here by Achilles to bring them, just to be a little bit safer. Then we have a front line of 6 tribal warriors, but you can see that some of them are actually remaining behind because of the rough terrain. So yeah, 6 tribal warriors, pretty standard stuff from Achilles over here. And they are actually backed up by a bunch of Celtic warriors. This is an insane amount of Celtic warriors. It's 6 Celtic warriors. And then of course we also have Thracian warriors. Like I think we have 1 or 2 units of those. How many? Yeah, we have 1 unit of Thracian warriors on his right flank. And this is a very strong melee component for Achilles. Now what he has to do here is he has to mirror and match, he has to match his units perfectly against Rome. Because like Attila has done it for him basically with his deployment. So Achilles now just has to move Celtic warriors over here and tribals over here. And that's basically what's gonna end up giving him the victory, I think. Because tribals will do very well over here with support of the Oathsworn General, whereas the Celtic warriors will absolutely destroy this Hastati here. Sure, there's lots of Hastati, but there are also a lot of Celtic warriors. And also something to note is that the Celtic warriors have 2 chevrons. An interesting decision by Achilles. I'm not sure whether it's worth it or not. Maybe he could have brought like more Thracian warriors, or he could have added like some Livy freemen or something for extra javelins against the Roman cavalry. I feel like that would have been more useful, but we will see if this pays off for him. Again, raiding horsemen kind of wasting their volleys against Hastati. They have fire at will on, but his main plan with the raiding horsemen is to just harass and try and do as much damage as possible to the saucy Equites. And apparently he is doing some HP damage to them as these javelins are hitting them. And again, he's actually killed 3 of them, so that's already big for Achilles. So you can see that while he does have a smaller front, he'll be able to again match properly against Attila if he so desires. And matching is very important in Rome too, but there's something to note for Attila as well. If he does have cavalry support here, which he does, and he actually charges into the Celtic warriors to rob them of their charge, his Hastati might actually end up winning in the melee engagement. So that is one thing that Attila has. And I believe that Rome versus Tylis is a better matchup for Rome than, say, Rome versus Boii, because Boii has the strong cavalry. So I feel like Attila here, he does have a better chance than in the previous game, but due to his deployment, than Achilles in the previous game, but due to his deployment, I feel like he may not be able to do it very well, because look at his center, so weak, 2 Principes, and his right flank is basically only composed of Hastati. Like, he really should be, like, what I feel like he should be doing, since Achilles doesn't really have too much cavalry, yeah, he has 3 raiding horsemen that will be annoying, is should put up Principes and Hastati, like, over here. Right, park them over here, and then essentially, well, Attila should be using his veteran legionaries like over here, while the Hastati and Principes are defending this area, and he could just pull back here, and his veteran legionaries come in over here. Of course, Achilles might see it, and it might not work very well, but here it comes. You can see that some jabs being thrown here, and the Hastati are not really getting a good charge against these Celtic warriors, so these ones are, but I mean, still, this is Armavir, and Achilles does have a downhill advantage, which is why his units will do better. And here comes a Thracian warrior that will go against Hastati. Hastati may not be getting the charge off. And here come the Thracian warriors with a massive charge. But I can't really look at this engagement right now, because look, the center is already engaged. And look at this Oathsworn General strategist. He isn't really popping Headhunt and Battle Rhythm, so he isn't really killing this unit as fast as he can. He should be, though, using it. And you can see those Thracian Peltas, they're going to be using their jabs to kill the cavalry that's actually going around. Still could move my Attila, he can flank around and kill this flank. But the thing is, his right flank is so weak that it's going to just end up dying far too quickly for him to be able to destroy this flank. Because these guys are tribals, and they're going to be able to hold out for a long time, even though that there are Hastati flanking them. And you can see this flank already just absolutely getting destroyed by Achilles because of how many strong units he has. Yes, the legionary cap actually got through and did get some kills, But this is really not worth it for Attila right now. And you can see Raiding Horse actually getting some rear charges as well. Look at this Principes unit, absolutely destroyed with the Osorn. The Osorn only lost 7 men. Very cost-effective trade there for Achilles. You can see here these Equites and are actually losing to Tribal Warriors. Tribal Warriors able to do a lot of damage. And sure, look, Attila actually got through Tribal Warriors pretty cost-effectively here. But there's another unit of Tribal Warriors and a Thracian Warrior that can get rid of the Equites here. And yeah, just look at the Legionary Cav and the Hastati, they're gonna go down. So, and this Osorn is uncontested. There's nothing that Attila has that is able to deal with this Osorn right now. Sure, he's gonna try and get some cav charges into the Thracian Peltas, but Achilles wisely uses his Osorn to go for the cavalry instead, and he's gonna support them with the Raiding Horsemen, try and do more damage. He's gonna pull out his Raiding Horsemen now, or actually he's gonna engage them and stop them here. Might be a good choice actually, also with another Celtic Warrior. Look, more charges by the Equites into Thracian Warriors. Not what you want to do, because Thracian Warriors are really good against cavalry, unless like you can catch them on open terrain. Yeah, Principes here actually did some damage, but not really enough to be cost effective. Here come the Raiding Horsemen for Achilles, for the General and Bodyguard of Rome, and at this point you can say that it's basically a win for Achilles, because he matched the units properly. Like, again, he used the Celtic Warriors to absolutely destroy the Hastati, and that's going to pretty much happen every time unless the Celtic Warriors get charged or flanked or shot beforehand. But yeah, let's zoom in for a little bit of action. I mean, we know that this is pretty much over at this point. There's no point in really keeping it zoomed out right now. Of course, there are still some Roman units that want to fight, but there's are really not enough of them. So these tribal warriors over here are actually fighting it out against lots of veteran legionaries. They're able to get some kills, and sure, they're getting flanked. They're not doing as well as they could, but they'll still be quite cost effective here. Well, in terms of giving time for Achilles to kill them and making sure these units are tied. Again, the downhill advantage for Achilles really played into his hands here. It allowed him to do basically a lot against Rome here. Because Armavir is... I mean, it's such a one-sided map, because the person that starts on top of the hill, like he not really hill, but he has like a downhill advantage that he can charge down upon and do really well. And it's like, actually it's more like this way, I think. Yeah, it's more like this way. I can't really see properly what's wrong with me. I think it's like this, yeah. Rather than this. Yeah, it's like this for sure. This is the downhill advantage from this side. And yeah, it's just a one-sided map for the attacker here. This one. It's like you can basically bring something like Tylis, Boy, or some sort of infantry spam and have really good chances of victory, since you're going to be fighting downhill. Again, you can potentially pull back to the red line here to give yourself some actual hill advantage, or over here as well. This could give you some downhill advantage, but I mean, that's really close to the red line, so some people may not want to do that. But yeah, let's take a look at the unit statistics for Attila the Great. Obviously, not as many men deployed and not as many killed for him, but his general got 33 kills. Not really too much. Legionary Cav did some damage here. The Hastati for him were basically, well, most of them wasted because they got destroyed by those Celtic Warriors. And look at the kills on the Celtic Warriors. Really insane, especially with the 2 upgrades. But again, not sure if giving them 2 upgrades is really worth it. But I mean, they were able to kill the Hastati so quickly. And the Principes here, you can see that they didn't do too much either. They got destroyed by this Osorn general here. Just look, almost 200 kills, and it didn't really need to do anything basically. Like, it just mopped up the Principes, then continued flanking and killed more units and killed cavalry, and it basically killed everything, because there was nothing that Attila had that could stop that Osorn from doing damage. And yeah, you can see his veteran legionaries. Alright, they destroyed the tribal warriors. So really nice job by the veteran legionaries, but destroying the tribal warriors was not enough for him to win the melee engagement, because the tribal warriors held on for so long that the Celtic warriors were able to win this flank for Achilles against the Hastati, able to turn around and start flanking the veteran legionaries. And of course the Thracian Peltas, again, quite some damage done to the cavalry and the melee units of Attila the Great. Raiding horsemen, not too much damage done, but of course some damage done to Attila's cavalry, the Saucy Equitus, and they were able to do some rear charges, so they did quite fine. As for the cavalry of Rome, not much to say really. They didn't do what they were supposed to do. They should have just charged frontally and stopped the Tylis from charging, because I mean, you saw that Tylis, like he just had to match the Hastati with his Celtic warriors, and as you were able to see in that engagement, Celtic warriors destroy Hastati, but if you use this cavalry on that side and charged the Celtic warriors and then followed up with Hastati, that might have looked much different. That could have looked so much different in the favor of Attila if he used the cavalry there, for instance, like all on one flank. Because I mean, Tylis had only 3 reigning horse. How is he going to catch up to the left flank of Attila the Great? Even though theoretically the left flank of Attila the Great is weaker, is stronger than his right flank, the one that had Hastates. The right flank could still have won against the Celtic warrior flank with proper cavalry charges, perhaps. But it's still very hard to engage this kind of Tylis build, especially on Armavir when you're fighting uphill against your enemy. But yeah, we shall see you in game 3 in the tiebreaker. And this is game 3 between Achilles and Attila on pyramids. We have Achilles as the boy and Attila playing as Tylis. I'm gonna go over their builds once we actually load up into the game, as well as their respective deployment. So I'm gonna put it into slow motion. Let's go over the build of Achilles this time. He's playing as boy. He has an O-Sword General, strategist, pretty normal. Then he has 5 heavy horse, very strong cavalry contingent, 2 axe warriors on his left flank, 2 axe warriors on his right flank. Again, a levy freeman on his right flank as well. Just 1 levy freeman, interestingly enough. I guess he doesn't really need many levy freemen because Tylis can't really bring too many cavalry units, but they still might be nice against raiding horsemen to make sure that the raiding horsemen can't get too close and do damage to his say heavy horse or like stronger Oathsworns or something. But he has, again, probably 6 sword followers. Does he have 6 sword followers? That does not actually look like it. I'm gonna hit play to make sure that he does get out of the forest. I think he has 6 sword followers though. So yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 sword followers. So yeah, indeed he does have 6 sword followers. So very strong. Oh, and another levy freeman here. Okay, he has 2 levy freemen on each flank. Pretty nice to deal with the raiding horsemen. So very strong boy build here by Achilles. Now let's see what Attila brought as Tylis. So he has 3 raiding horsemen on his left flank, already shooting at the levy freeman, but this is pretty much a waste. He needs to shoot at the heavy horse or the Oathsworn General. Those are prime targets for him, but you can see that he has fire at will on. Then the Tylis main line, well, we can see he has a strategist Oathsworn General. Pretty standard stuff again. And he has, let's see, where is his cavalry? Well, yeah, obviously 3 raiding horse. He doesn't really have much else that he can bring. He has 2 levy freemen up front, so just 2 levy freemen for both of the players here. And he has, let's see, on his left flank He has a Thracian warrior with a Celtic warrior, like kind of like in the back lines. On his right flank, he has a Celtic warrior with an Oathsworn and a Thracian warrior. So interesting stuff. Gallant Thracian infantry here on his right flank. And in the center, Thracian warrior. I think this is a massive mistake by Attila. He should not be placing the Thracian warrior here. I think this is a great big mistake to put it in the center instead of on the flanks or in the rear. And this could just get absolutely crushed by a heavy horse charge, for instance. Then he has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 tribal warriors. Pretty normal stuff. So again, decent build here by Attila. Pretty strong, but I'm not sure if I agree with his deployment. We'll see if it can work for him though. Now Achilles, what he wants to do here is, since he probably can't win in a straight up engagement against this Tylis build, especially as he has only 1 Oathsworn, I believe, versus a 2 Oathsworn, what he's gonna have to do is he's gonna have to frontally charge into Tylis, preferably non-braced units, and preferably single line Tylis infantry as well. I mean, by that I mean like only 1 line of units instead of like having 2 lines with like maybe 3 men behind or Celtic warriors or something. That's what he wants to do so that he doesn't get his heavy horse shot to death by Pila. So yeah, what he should do here is he should charge frontally with his cavalry into those swords, get through the rear of these tribal warriors, and then charge back in from the rear and also charge in with the sword followers, and that will be very devastating to the Tylis line. And we'll see if he could do that right now. Here come the heavy horse charges. You'll see exactly how this goes for him. I'm gonna press K. So we do have some javelins, but none on the cavalry, so this is very good for Achilles. Look at the heavy horse already getting through, and the sword followers getting the charges off on the tribal warriors as well. And look again, the heavy horse got through, didn't take much damage, and now are in the back lines. Sword followers, I'm not sure why are they losing here to tribal warriors. This is quite strange. Axe warriors not doing too well either already, but look at this Thracian warrior. It got destroyed by sword followers. This was the weak point, and now it's getting broken through by the sword followers, and now this is going to allow these tribals to get routed pretty quickly as they're in red morale, and heavy horse rear charge should rout them off the field, I feel. Not actually routing though, even with red morale and being back charged. That's quite strange. Yeah, more raiding horse, and look at this tribal warrior is gonna die to sword followers pretty effectively. This sword follower isn't doing too hot against this unit of tribals though. That's quite strange. And this Oathsworn will have a field day against the axe warriors and sword followers. Not with this heavy horse charge in the back though, but really nice javelins from this Oathsworn and got a Thracian warriors, but again more back charges with the heavy horse for Achilles here. And the tribals should start losing to the sword followers as there are more and more back charges. Again, sword followers crushing through tribals here. Very good engagement for the sword followers here. Raiding horse, I feel like they're not being used to their full potential right now, because they could be charging this Celtic warrior and doing massive damage. Or this heavy horse should charge the Celtic warrior, I feel. Because, okay, sure, charging tribal warriors in the rear, nice, but it doesn't do as much damage as it would against Celtic warriors. Celtic warriors would absolutely get destroyed by a heavy horse charge, so I think that he should be prioritizing his charges against Celtic warriors, because this flank would have held out for a little while longer if he didn't allow the Celtic warrior to charge him. So I definitely think charging that unit would have been better for Achilles. Then we have Achilles pulling out his Oathsworn over here, but he's gonna end up taking some damage as he's getting hit in the rear by the sword followers. Not sure about this decision by Achilles. He should have continued fighting here, because he has... Wait, no, this isn't Achilles. No, my bad. This is Attila. Attila is Tylis. So Attila should have kept this Oathsworn engaging over here. So it was a good move by Achilles to force him out this engagement, which means the Oathsworn took so much damage to these sword followers. And look, this Ulsor General for Tylis did really well, but I mean, is it really doing what it needs to do? And whereas the Ulsor General for Boy is already getting massive kills against Galathracians, and Heavy Horse already doing so much damage here. You see that Tylis is actually going to end up winning this flank, because there were mostly Axe Warriors for Boy here, a lot of them actually, which is why Boy lost the flank, I would say. And also in general for Tylis is going to end up dying with, look, these two generals next to each other. Look, Raiding Horse going to demolish this Old Storm general. Just look at these volleys coming in here from Achilles. Gonna be very important here, as well as more Old Storms gonna be. I mean, these are two Old Storms that Tylis has, and yes, they've done lots of damage, but Achilles is now gonna be able to do so much more with his own Old Storm unit. So two Old Storms were kind of neutralized pretty well. This one Old Storm hasn't done as much damage as it really wants yet. It's gonna get killed. Raiding Horse get charged here, so nice job by Achilles. He's gonna be able to rout that unit off the field. Yeah, the Raiding Horse were doing friendly fire to the Osworn General of Achilles. So not to his own Osworn General of Attila. My god, I'm becoming Maximus. I'm starting to confuse things. This is bad. I've been watching too many of his videos, I think. And you should check out his channel if you haven't already. It's Maximus Norvegicus. So, let's see. We have Tylis blobbing up against this one Heavy Horse. He's gonna pull out, but in turn it's gonna allow the Heavy Horse to actually get some kills. They're pulling out, and now here come the final moments of this game. Have the Osworn General that's gonna be just getting lots of kills against these Celtic warriors and tribals. So nice the rear charges by the Heavy Horse, and more sword followers coming in here. Even more sword followers. These Thracians got so many kills for Attila. I'm not sure how they did, but it doesn't really matter at this point, because Boy just has too many units remaining that are very strong, like Oathsworns, and there's no Oathsworn remaining for Attila. His general is gone, whereas the Oathsworn general for Achilles, this is what's winning him the game right now. Just look at this Oathsworn just beasting it up over here against the cavalry units. But yeah, you can learn from here is if you don't have an infantry advantage, you can kind of get it by charging your cavalry frontally into non-braced infantry and then following up with your own infantry, as demonstrated here by Achilles. It was pretty damn well done, in fact, like well executed by Achilles, but he still didn't do so well because he followed up with Axe Warriors, and Axe Warriors are not really like sword followers, so they wouldn't do as much damage to tribals. So it wasn't as devastating for him as it could have been. I suppose these sword followers here will actually destroy the Levy Freeman. Let's zoom in a little bit more here. You see the Levy Freeman get crushed, and that is game. So Achilles wins 2-1 and moves over to the next round, which is actually semi-finals of the Total War YouTuber tournament. And let's take a look at the unit statistics for Attila the Great. Osworn General, 217 kills, lots of damage done to sword followers and like in that huge blob, and Axe Warriors as well. Raiding Horsemen got some kills, but not really worth it, I think. I mean, they did okay. The Celtic Warriors kind of got wasted. Didn't do enough. Thracians didn't do much either. The Levy Freeman surprisingly got a lot of kills here. Thracian Warriors, this one is an MVP unit. Oathsworn, I guess not enough done here for this Oathsworn to be effective. Then two Thracian Warriors here, kind of wasted again. Tribals did not do too well for Attila because again it was Heavy Horse charge by Achilles, which did insane amounts of damage to them. Even though it didn't kill many on the charge, he got through, which allowed his own sword followers to get an uninterrupted charge against tribal warriors, which were already damaged and couldn't countercharge. So that was very effective by Achilles, especially as he was able to rear charge again with Heavy Horse. So lots of factors going in with that frontal cav charge. I mean, lots of factors going in favor of Achilles. That is what I meant to say. And Axe Warriors, as you can see, didn't really do much, which is why he should have charged frontally with and followed up with sword followers along the line. Like, he should have matched up the 6 sword followers against the 6 tribals, because you saw like he matched up with some Axe Warriors as well, which weren't as effective. But if he matched up all his sword followers against all the tribals and then went through with all his heavy horse, I think that could have been far, far better for Achilles than just simply also doing it with like a couple sword followers, couple of Axe Warriors. So I think that would have been better. But it was still pretty damn good execution. And I hope you guys enjoyed. If you want to see more, don't forget to comment, rate, and subscribe. Follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and Google+. Share the video, and I'll see you next time.